I'd like to continue a discussion of happiness and looking at it from the Buddhist perspective and also from the Christian perspective and the dialogue between those two. Um, there's a famous Buddhist story that you might have heard, and it's about a woman, and she has lost her child, and she is in deep grief. The loss of a child, of course, is just such a difficult thing for really any parent to bear, any parent to cope with. Very, very hard. And so you can see why somebody, after the loss of a child, would go into really deep grief. She carried her dead child around the land, and she asked if someone could heal her child. She had so much love for this child that she just wanted this child back. She wanted this child to be healed. She couldn't accept that this child that she had given birth to, that she loved so deeply, was dead. So she was hoping for a healing for her child, which you can understand as a mother. She came to the Buddha, and of course, many would come to the Buddha for healing, for help. She came to the Buddha, and the Buddha told her that he would help her. Because, again, the Buddha was so compassionate. The Buddha said, I will help you. And I will help you if you collect mustard seeds for medicine. So the idea was, well, we need some medicine for the child to heal the child. The mustard seeds. Those seeds are very powerful because the tree becomes so large that maybe the mustard seed. She agreed. And naturally, she would do anything that the Buddha said to save her child. The Buddha explained that the mustard seeds needed to come from a house that had not been touched by death. So please go around to all these houses, collect the mustard seed, but you can't go to a house that has been touched by death. That's one thing that you cannot do. So she went and she visited each house. She went around from house to house. But she could not find a house that had not been touched by death. Every house she visited, there was somebody who was touched by death. And then, as she was doing this, the realization came that she was not alone. Here she was, she thought, I'm the only one who has faced death in this fashion. But as she went around to all these homes, everybody had been faced by death. She couldn't get any mustard seeds. There were none to be had because everyone had encountered death. And so she was not alone. She was part of really a community of grief. And so finally then, she was able to bury her son. That realization that yes, in this grief, in this mourning, we are not alone. So many have been touched by death. And so that freed her to finally bury her son. So the Buddha, in wisdom, had given her a healing. And it's so interesting, right? Because we think of the healing and we think of the son coming back to life, and we think that's a wonderful thing and beautiful. But there's so many levels of healing. The healing of that loneliness, that feeling that no one else has experienced this, sometimes can be a much more powerful healing than any other healing. so she was healed from her aloneness. Gordon Wheeler, the psychologist, has written about this struggle for happiness in the midst of grief and sorrow. And he makes the point that grief is the reminder of the depth of our love. The more we grieve, what does it say about us? It says that I have loved. I have loved deeply. Because I have loved so much, I grieve intensely. Interesting, right? That the aspect of love. I think of love as this wonderful emotion, right? This attraction, great relationship. And it is all of those things, but it's also a sign that when I have lost somebody and I am grieving, I have loved deeply. I have loved with all my being. Christians, in terms of facing suffering, speak about facing the evils of the world. First aspect is to acknowledge there are evils in the world. The world is not perfect. There are things in the world that need to be changed. There are things that are wrong. There are outrages. There are horrible things that go on. So we must face those evils. And how do we face them? We face them firstly by showing compassion, by not turning away, by realizing that that person who is encountering evil needs our help. We have compassion for them. And so we get this feeling of being distressed. But as a Christian, we say, that's a good feeling that we're distressed. Because when we're distressed about a situation, when we're upset with something, when we see something that is out of whack, out of balance, we see somebody who is ill but they can't get proper health care. They're turned away, they don't have the funds. We see somebody who doesn't have proper housing, they get distressed. But it's a good type of feeling because it shows that we care. It shows that we are people of compassion. It shows that we want to make a difference in the life of somebody. We want to come to them. We want to assist them. We want to bring our love, the depth of our love,